mature, good mass. Like, he's a bonus buck. I've never gotten a picture of him. I've never seen him. And I was like, okay, like, game on, you know. I actually held full draw for about 3 minutes.
Animal.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another edition of the Drury Outdoors 100% Wild podcast powered by DeerCast. I'm your host, Matt Drury. This week we are missing one Tim Chelsvik, but we have added one Ben Stahlman, producer extraordinaire. He's a producer for the deer season series on the Drury Outdoors YouTube channel, plus just an all-around great guy in the studio.
Oh, I appreciate that.
He actually gets stuck filming me a lot. Probably doesn't appreciate that.
We've spent a lot of time together the last 2 seasons.
Not quite as much as Scott and
that's
I.
True. That's true.
You're a hell of a camera guy and a good guy to be around, so I enjoy your presence overall.
I appreciate that, yeah.
You're welcome. No, enough with the niceties. I wanted to have Ben on because Ben actually killed a deer here in the late season. I figured this is just going to be a general catch up BS kind of end of the season session. But you ended the season on a high note. So I figured we'd start there and start on the high note.
Heck yeah.
So Ben and his fiance, Gracie Jane, went out to one of the leases that I have. And I had a couple different bucks that had been on the stealth cams quite a bit all season, really. And one of them, it's one of those deals where I've been tempted to probably at certain points of the season, 100% would have shot this deer.
Oh, for sure. He's really nice.
A 9-pointer, just kind of a mainframe 9.
Yeah.
That I can't tell if he's 4 or 5.
Super tall, tined.
Yeah.
Just beautiful deer, really.
Yeah. His 2s and 3s are really long.
Yeah.
But in general, it's one of those deer that if I could lay off him.
Yeah. If he's there next year, he's going to be a beautiful deer.
Yeah. Now,
huge.
It's one of those properties where usually they don't come back. Very rarely anyways. It has happened in the past, but not a ton.
Yeah.
So it's a gamble. Like most people, it's just a lease that, the guy who has the farming rights could, he also has cattle in there. That could change things.
Like the couple shooters you had up there this year, did you have history with them previously? Or were those new, like Waddles and then that 9-point?
Waddles I had pictures of the year before. That 9-point, not that I can recall. Maybe the 8-point, maybe.
Yeah.
So he could easily disappear.
Oh, let's hope he sticks around.
So anyways, the point is that we hunted there early, and then we picked up that new lease that Aaron Bennett and I kind of focused in on, and we kind of didn't hunt there at all during the rut. It's typically when I could kill that.
We needed to be there the first 2 weeks of season.
And
first week of season. Yeah. That would have been the ticket. That would have been a great way to start the season.
They were daylight on the food plot basically every night. So, you screw that up, meaning me. and then you don't hunt there during the rut, again, meaning me, because we thought, okay, grass is always greener, got this other farm.
And you had some nice deer that were showing up over there. And
so hey, let's leave this alone. We could always go back to it.
Yeah.
I had the farmer, I paid him to leave. It was 0.88 acres, so not even a full acre of standing corn. And so there was the other reason we kind of left it alone. I was like, hey, this is going to be great in the late season. We get some cold temperatures. Fast forward, Here we are, and we got that Arctic blast coming through. We've had a lot of snow up there. It was like 14 inches of snow.
It's a lot more than it is here.
Yeah, in the St. Louis area. So Christmas break hits. I'm not going anywhere, man. We had like 5 or 6 in a row, like 5 or 6 days in a row. And then I had a couple other holiday parties, and you had the opportunity. Well, you were sick throughout that break.
Yeah, I was sick quite a bit, but I did make it up before with Aaron once.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple times. I think I went up there 5 times. So.
Yeah. So we went up probably mid-December, and we pulled in a blind, hawk blind on a Keen trailer. Mm-hmm. And we brush hogged. It was my brother-in-law, myself, and Will. And we went and brush hogged, maybe a third, I'd say, of that field, and set up perfectly with the blind to get in, have great hunts, get out kind of undetected. So I hunted once or twice, and then you hunted a couple times. And then it just kind of over the Christmas break, nothing happened. But then we fast forward to the end of the muzzleloader season. Yeah. And you had an opportunity to go a couple times, didn't you?
I I think I hunted with my muzzle loader up there 3 times. Saw a bunch of does, saw a bunch of deer. It was super cold that week.
Yeah.
But never any bucks, or never the 2 management bucks I was going up there for.
Yeah.
They never showed up. But when we would walk out 30 minutes later, they'd show up on the revolver.
And that was the weird part. Like every night.
Yeah.
For a month and a half now, I have pictures every night of these deer. And it's like, man, I wouldn't think I'm that far off of their bedroom, but apparently I am. And there was one night in there before Christmas, if I remember, I said, we should go hunt. Yeah. It was a Friday. And I had, Lola was, my daughter was selected to be like student of the week or whatever for a class. And there was a function where Miranda had to work that day, and they could have a parent or their parents come to lunch. And I'm not skipping that, obviously.
No.
I went and did that, and then I had lunch with my son since I was there. And that was the one day where I was like, we should be hunting.
And
we
we were definitely gonna.
We were
ready to go.
And we didn't. And the deer that I wanted to potentially shoot, this 9-pointer, was there daylight.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only time that we really had much daylight activity until recently. We kind of had, it picked up a little bit.
Yeah, one night when we were in Illinois, we had that 8-pointer that I wanted to show up, I think, with 10 minutes of daylight left. And
legal. It was right. So we had Aaron Bennett go up, and he didn't have any way to brush hog it, but he just took his tracker EV up there, and he knocked over a bunch of corn for us. And he was worried about it being too late in the afternoon. It was like 3:00. And I was like, don't worry about it. We're not hunting it. Just go do it. Cause he was in the area. And not long after that, was like 2 hours after, at 5:00, the deer that I wanted Ben to shoot, this nice 8-pointer, mature 8-pointer, walks right through the
he heard corn. Him. He heard him knocking that corn over for sure.
The dinner bell. So you're right. So it was daylight then. You went up a couple times, no luck during the muzzleloader, but we were over in Illinois, and that's a whole different story we can get into after this. But we were over in Illinois, and when we were over there, I was like, yeah, when we get back, just go. I can't go this weekend, so just go up there. And so you went. Gracie Jane was filming you, right? Your fiance.
Yep. So last Saturday, we got in the truck, loaded the trailer up, and headed north. And we had an incredible sit. It was definitely a night I'll never forget. And I want to start off with thanking you for letting me go up there, hunt that lease. It really meant a lot to me. And I had no expectations of shooting the deer I ended up seeing and shooting. So
it was, I think, maybe the top third best buck ever shot up there. I've had it for a decade.
Golly, yeah.
So Ben texts me, and he's like, hey, we got a deer here that I don't recognize.
No, and I was like looking through all the pictures. I'm like, is that the 9-pointer? And this is 3:30. This is
super
early for
they never moved that early
up there. And Gracie Jane, she looked up and she saw 2 bucks coming, and they got behind the corn on the west side of that field, and we couldn't see them. And she's like, I know one was really nice. And so I'm on the trail cam pictures of everything you sent me of, is it the 9-pointer? You have a couple young deer in there. And he popped out, and I'm like, I don't recognize this deer. His mass was, he had really good mass. And I knew that right away. And after looking through the binoculars at him for a pretty long time, I mean, we had a really long encounter with him. I couldn't get over his mass. And maybe his face looked, it was kind of hard to determine age, but his mass really told me a lot. So I was texting you, trying to get pictures, and it's, you know how hectic it is when you're trying to figure out what deer is who and this and that. And there was an 8-pointer with him, but it wasn't the 8 I was going to kill. It was,
And so he's texting me, I'm out with the family, and, we're in the middle. I think at that point, we were over at the mall shopping for the kids or something like that. And they need new shoes before they went back to school or whatever. Yeah. So I'm on the phone with you, texting. And then finally Miranda's like, who are you talking to? I'm like, it's Ben. He's hunting. There's a deer that we don't know who he is. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, man, he looks young in the face, but I don't know him. He's a total bonus buck, complete which that corn totally sucked him in.
Oh, yeah.
And even the deer you ended up showing me on the footage later, that was a bonus buck. I don't remember having him either.
Yeah.
And so I finally, we messed around with that long enough where that deer left, and you're like, well, he's out of my life, or said something like that. He's out of my life.
you were like, if you think he's mature, good mass, like he's a bonus buck. I've never gotten a picture of him. I've never seen him. And I was like, okay, like game on, Well, the closest he got was 55 yards.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking that shot with my bow right now. And then he fed away and he went straight west. And I was like, that was probably our only encounter we'll have with him, maybe ever.
Yeah.
And he fed off and we didn't see him. And then I started getting glimpses on the backside of the staging pot of some tines, and we saw him walking back and forth, and he was kind of just moseying around, and we didn't see him for about 30 minutes to an hour, and he ended up coming back.
And even then it was broad daylight still, which is just it's just rare.
No,
it seems like up there the last couple of years. So
I was being pretty negative. I was like, that was
that's
it.
my boy.
Should I have taken the shot here? And Gracie Jane, she talked me through a lot of it. She's like, just believe in the power of hope, and like
she's so cute.
She was being very, very positive.
That's her personality.
It was, and it really made it, because I think it helped. And I was sitting there being negative, and she's like, come on, like it's still early in the night, like and I text my dad, he's like, keep at it, like he could come back, and she said a couple prayers, and all of a sudden 5 o'clock, this deer and about 5 other little bucks start marching their way towards us. And I'm like, okay, this is game on. I had the camera. I was like, he jumped the fence. I was like, okay, take the camera. We need to get ready here. So it was awesome.
So he walked out, he's feeding in the corn, and then he kind of gives you a quartering to angle.
He jumped the fence and he hurried to the corn. I think they feel comfortable in there. They're covered. So he was walking a row down, taking his time. I mean, it was 5 o'clock, but he was feeding through. And he got to 36 yards, and I opened the window, and I came to full draw. And I was waiting for him to take one step to get broadside, and he wouldn't do it. So I actually held full draw for about 3 minutes.
Animal.
Yeah. I was, and luckily Gracie Jane's like, do you need to, like, what can we do? She communicated great throughout the whole thing. It was super helpful, but I'm an animal. So I held full draw for about, I think it was 2 minutes and 50 seconds. And he wouldn't get broadside for me. And he kept feeding towards us. Well, I'm out the front window and he's coming in 26 yards, 25. He's at 20 yards, and he's about to step out of the corn, which put him perfectly broadside. And I have about 3 inches left out of that front window, or I'm going to have to switch to a side window. And Gracie Jane's like, I'm on him. Communication, I'm on him. I'm like, are you ready? Boom, hit him. I feel like about perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And
great shot.
He went about 75 yards, did a couple circles, and laid down for us. And it was awesome. It was like the coolest thing. It never happens like that. No. And it's like everything just happened perfect. And it never happens like that. We got the window open. They didn't bust us. The wind was fine. I had the cameras rolling everywhere. Like it was really awesome. It was a lot of fun.
It's one of those deals where I'm glad you were there and hunting and could experience, because I don't know that it would have been the same experience if I was the one hunting. I may have overthought it and been like, well, the other deer might come out, or that sometimes that ruins, that kind of shit just ruins what we were actually trying to do, is just go out there and have fun and kill a deer. It's
also it puts pressure on you trying to manage certain deer and see an encounter, and you're getting pictures. You're going in after this buck, but very rarely a bonus buck shows up. So I was just extremely thankful that happened.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll have to go back through cameras through previous years. I don't think I recognize him. We didn't monitor it like super close last year, but enough to have, I would think, any shooter in the area on it. But I don't recognize him. And I know I didn't have any pictures of him this year, because we did monitor the farm pretty well. I had enough cameras on it this year. So, I mean, truly a bonus buck. And then, you send a picture, the next day, think. Well, you called me that night in the blind, and I was confused. I thought when you said that bonus buck, it was the other bonus buck that I had sent you in there, not the 8-pointer, the other one.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought. And then and then you sent the video clip. I was like, oh, the bonus buck. Because that's what we started calling them when you first texted the picture. I was like, oh, it's a bonus buck.
Yeah.
It's great. Perfect.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying, hey, use your best judgment. If you think it's hard for me to tell from a picture.
Yeah.
I was like, if you think he's mature, shoot him.
Yeah. And thanks for giving me the okay on that.
He was, you've brought him in to the studio here. We got to take a look at him. What he ended up scoring? He
ended up scoring 153, and his mass, you're in a foot of snow. It's cold, dark. It's hard to get good pictures. We're running out of juice on the buggy. We're trying to get home. By the time we got home to get more pictures, it was almost 12 o'clock. So
Ben wakes his dad up.
I wake my dad up. I needed to get a picture. I needed to get more pictures. This doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
It's been, I think, 4 years since I killed a buck with my bow.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been a long time. I killed one with my rifle last year. But
really nice one.
It's been, and that's my biggest bow kill, my biggest buck kill to date. And I'm like, I need to get more pictures, but also my dad's not a photographer. You got to set the deer up right. So I feel like the pictures don't do it justice. Whenever we ended up taping him, he ended up going a lot bigger than I thought he would.
When you brought him in here, the first thing I was like, damn, it definitely looks better in person.
Yeah.
And it's just, the mass is what didn't pick up in the pictures.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what I mean? Like it's just it was hard to convey that, I guess. But he's got all the way out to the end of his main beams. He's got good mass.
Yeah.
All the way up through the tines, everything.
One of his bases is 6 inches, and that's, I feel like, pretty rare. It doesn't happen often. That's
well, and you can
mass.
look. I got a bunch of euros from that farm of the deer that I've shot on that farm on my wall in the studio here in my office, and you can look at all of them. None of them have mass like that.
Yeah.
The only deer that I remember having good mass like that is a deer that Wayno killed at 184. I mean, he was a mega giant. But,
up at that least.
Yeah, but he had great mass like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And, but otherwise they're typically kind of spindly, a little spindly.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm shooting 4-year-olds and I don't realize.
No.
I know for a fact the one deer that we called 2S2, Scott and I chased all year. We had like 10 encounters with him up there. That was my biggest deer up there. And I think he was like 157 or 6 or something like that. So, and he did not have that kind of mass. He was just wide and, good time length.
Yeah. Yeah. His mass definitely added up. Cause I was thinking maybe mid 40s, or
I was thinking
140-ish.
40s. Yeah. Early, low 40s.
Yeah.
So pretty awesome. And his main beam length was surprising.
Yeah. It was 23 and 22. Yeah.
So,
I mean, that all adds up.
Yeah. So pretty awesome. I'm glad that it happened to you. You've been with me and helped me out, all year long. And that's the thing. It's like, try to make sure you guys have opportunities. I know Mark's the same way.
Yeah.
Obviously with Forrest, Wade, and Perry, those guys are key.
For sure.
They're basically cast members at this point. They're
definitely.
key guys. They're with Mark and Terry all the time. But like Carson and Darren and you.
Ellie.
Ellie. Yeah. It's like, man, it's great to see you guys. You're working so hard behind the scenes all the time.
Yeah.
And don't get a ton of opportunities.
And we love hunting. Like,
So it's nice to be able to see you guys succeed and have the opportunities to because you got your own ground. You've hunted this year. It's not that you haven't.
Me and my dad, we still hunt. It's been a little different the last couple of years. We're on permission pieces. It's good. It's bad. It's other people coming in. I had a farm that had 5 cameras go underwater from a flood, and then it's hard to kind of find the time to kind of figure out that property after all the signs gone. And yeah, it's been kind of a rough season, and I didn't hunt as much as I usually do this season. I got pretty lucky there at the end. Yeah. And I thank you for that.
Hey, right place, right time. I'd rather be lucky than good. Terry has said it. Mark has said it for years.
For sure.
And it's 100% true. Because when you're on the other end of it, you're like, man, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I just need some luck. We talk about it a lot. I've had some hits that, it's like, man, other guys hit them here and they're dying within 40,
Watching
50
them,
yards.
yeah.
And it's just freakish.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
It's
take the luck and run.
Yeah. Part of hunting.
Yeah. So speaking of that property, so this was that late October or early November? We had a freak heavy rainstorm and the property that flooded.
Oh, yeah. Well, so me and my dad got permission on this piece, and that next day I put out a camera, and then a day after that, so 2 days after we got permission, I had a
big deer,
giant, my biggest deer I've gotten on trail camera. He was a big deer. And then I think a couple days later, the farm flooded all my, I think we hunted it one time. Well, the deal was me and my dad had to shoot does off of it first. So we're out there, we're trying to kill a doe because we know there's that big deer. And then all of a sudden the farm floods. Well, the whole town floods. And we didn't even really do nothing out there after. I mean, all the deer kind of left, all the sign was gone. And then all of a sudden your season's almost over. It's crazy.
When was that? That was right in the rut, wasn't it?
That was probably right before. Yeah, it was right during rut.
Because there were scrapes. He was hitting scrapes and making scrapes and big deer. And then all of a sudden you'd get a picture of a couple bums walking through because it's a St. Louis area. Yeah. So an hour before he walked through, I had two guys walk straight through the scrape. And I'm like, what the heck? And then I'm sitting there on the couch and you open your phone to that buck standing there looking straight at the camera. You're like, holy cow, this thing has split G2, split G3s, a drop. You're like, this is crazy. But how often does that happen when you get a giant come through and you never see him again? So that's kind of what it kind of just keeps you excited. Yeah, that happened out at Marthasville lease last year. We had two giants that you got a couple pictures of. Then we actually had an encounter with them, one of them.
Oh, right there at the end.
Yeah. And it's just like, man, where the hell was this deer all year? He was right on the neighbor had him, which we found out the neighbor had a lot of them, So that's
you had food there. Yeah. And it got cold just like it did this year right at the end. Yep.
So yeah, it's strange, but you wish, it's like those one or two pictures, the deer where you get one or two pictures of them and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what the hell? Well, why did he just randomly show up?
Yeah. It's like, why are you teasing me? You almost got to go right in after them or they're going to be gone.
Yeah. And a lot of times they may already be, Mark always says you got it, you're already too late.
Too late.
I feel that. But no, I'm glad, you've had, even the year before the quarry piece, you've had a couple of tough
it's been
seasons.
3 years in a row we're good to go. And then right before season, plans change with the landowners or
that's the tough part about permission pieces.
Yeah. And it's
not much you can do in that regard when they're like, oh, actually I'm not letting so-and-so hunt too. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. And all of a sudden you're pulling up and there's another truck there. It's something me and my dad have dealt with ever since I started hunting. And, it's just a lot of people do deal with that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just part of it for us until we get a lease somewhere or get another lease somewhere. It's how it's probably going to be. So.
And even when you get a lease, you got other issues to deal with.
For sure.
The owner wants to do this or that, or they got the farming rights are leased out, or there's cattle, or fences are jacked up, or neighbors are
on the line.
Yeah, yep. There's always something.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I'm tickled to death. I'm glad you were able to kill that deer late because we went out. I mean, we went out last night, so a couple days later, and more or less got skunked. We saw a spike and a doe, and that was it. And it was a great night.
Yeah,
we should have moved,
which is crazy. I mean,
and the deer that you killed died in the field, so it wasn't like there was a bunch of commotion there.
No intrusion there.
So, anyways, to come down to the wire like this, and you got a few days left in the season, and trying to kill one with a bow. That's my hats off to anybody that's doing that.
Well, I appreciate that, and thanks again for letting me go up there.
Yep. So
awesome.
All right. So we got a few. I think we talked about. So producer Jordan and I talked about it, and I think we're gonna start getting rid of the wildlife word of the day and replace it with new segments or do something new. We're still working on that. I got to go to the SHOT Show next week out in Vegas. I know Tim will be out there too. So, so for those of you listening to the podcast, like there might be a couple weeks where we're a little sporadic. I know we missed last week as well. Ben and I were over in Illinois, and I was trying to catch up with a deer that unfortunately I hit bad with my muzzleloader during the second gun season. Real nice deer. And he disappeared for a while, showed back up on camera. We went back over to try to, obviously do the right thing and catch back up with him with archery, and handle is the only difference. But turns out he ended up dying here a couple days ago. So that was kind of out of the. That's really why we didn't go back to Illinois. It's like, all right, well, let's hunt Missouri here now.
Yeah, and we were going to be there all week probably.
Yeah, so. Anyways, that's what we missed last week. This week, we're hitting it with Ben's podcast. Next week, we might miss. I'm just giving you a heads up. But anyhow, I think, always open to suggestions on what you guys and gals want from the podcast, what you want to hear going forward. I've really liked digging into these stories with, the big deer stories for sure, of just, our listeners or your average everyday guy just going out and hunting and killing big deer, or even, in your case, killing any deer, just hearing these stories and kind of, the plights that people have to deal with. Yeah. I've enjoyed that. So I think we're going to still continue to highlight those, but there's a big period there between the end of the deer season when people care about that kind of stuff until really August when people start caring about it again. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, if anybody's got show suggestions, we're all ears on guests. And
maybe try to get some heartbreaker shows.
Yep, for sure. The ones that got away. I got plenty of those. Yeah. I know Mark and Terry have over the years. And really those YouTube episodes and Deercast episodes do really well for us of the Heartbreaker series. So if you haven't checked those out, you should go. They're in the deer season series towards the beginning of this. Well, it would have been the beginning of 24.
June area. Yeah, because it's usually after turkey season.
Yeah, you're right. So anyways, go back a little bit and you can catch those. But in the meantime, we do have a few of the standards we're still going to do. The question of the day. I do like hearing from the audience, hearing their questions, shout outs, of course, and new Rack Pack members. But I do think we're going to retire the wildlife word and try to replace it with another segment. So anyhow, we're going to give the audience a heads up on that. So moving forward into the question of the day, we got a question from John in the Rack Pack. He says, has anyone tried the new Muddy Nucleus heated quarter zip? I bought a cheaper heated vest a couple years ago that stopped working, looking to upgrade with something of better quality. So Ben knows this. I brag about it a lot. I had all the heated gear.
Every time we hunt, he's clicking on his heated gear, heated gloves, heated hand warmer, heated vest, heated jacket, heated pants.
Sound jealous to me.
Yeah, heated socks.
That's
and
it.
I got hot hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Buddy makes those too.
No, well.
They do. So here's what I'll say. The quarter zip, I like it. That's what I first started wearing throughout, like when it started getting a little bit colder in the rut. It's got one zone in the back in your kind of like over your kidneys, but they got a vest, a heated vest that I just got maybe a couple weeks ago. And that's my new favorite instead of the quarter zip, because the heated vest has some zones on your front, like on your chest as well. So it helps keep you a little bit warmer. The quarter zip's nice and all, especially you're talking rut and, before it gets super cold. But when we're in like this Arctic blast, sure, that would help. But I like having the vest that's got the two zones in it. And the pants you feel instant heat, and it's right on your thighs. So that's the one zone on the pants, or the base layer pants is on your thighs. The socks is just on your toes. The socks, I will say they work fine. They work great, but you're not going to feel that immediate heat like you do on the vest or the quarter zip and the pants. It's like, and there's 3 zones, so you can decide what you need, but it's instant heat. Whereas like the socks and even the gloves or the hand warmer, I feel like it's more of it's just there and it keeps your extremities a little bit warmer.
Maybe it's not as intense, so you don't sweat and get your socks wet.
That probably is the case. So I like them all. They're all great. My favorite is that Best, and the pants are pretty legit. So hope that helps John and anybody else. You could go check those out on Muddy's website. But it's been a nice addition.
Yeah, so. I wouldn't know. Yeah, I need to get some.
Yeah. Hey, you know a guy.
Yeah.
Alan.
Give me yours.
Yeah, no.
Oh, well.
You don't know that guy. All right, so we got some shout outs. If you want to leave a shout out, go to wherever you listen or watch the podcast and leave us more or less a review. If you go to where you listen, you can actually leave reviews, like 5-star reviews. If you got a 1-star review, first of all, suck it. I don't want a 1-star review. I just want 5 stars. Yeah. 4, okay, I'll take a 4. But if you're 3 and under, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I don't want your input. I get plenty of negative input. I don't need more. So also you can leave a comment while you're doing that, and we'll read the comments. And we have read some bad ones. I don't know why, but we have. So here's the latest shout out over on Apple Podcast from Steve C. He goes, always look forward to seeing your content. Keep up the good work. Shoot straight. See you at the NWTF convention in 2025. And yes, you will see me there. I know that Mark is being inducted into the Grand National Hall of Fame, the Championship Calling Hall of Fame. So that's a really big deal. And I know Mark and Tracy obviously will be there. Terry and Willa. Taylor's going to be there. I don't know if Austin and Mabry will be, but myself and I think my wife Miranda, we're going to join as well. So we'll be in the Muddy booth probably most of the time, but you'll be able to check us out over at Moss Yoke or over at the Winchester booth as well. And would love to see everybody go support the Madman and celebrate him at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So I think that's on Saturday. I don't have the time just yet, but NWTF National Convention, for anybody that hasn't been, it is an awesome experience. It's a great consumer show. I think they have like 40,000+ people go through the Opryland. And it's just, for hunters in general, you don't even have to be just a turkey hunter because there's all kinds of shit that they got there. But for turkey hunters, it's like the Super Bowl. It's awesome. And it's a good time. It's in Nashville. So plenty to see and do. So thanks for the shout out, Steve, and we'll see you there. All right, we got new Rack Pack members. If you don't know what the Rack Pack is, it is a private Facebook group. All you got to do is go to Facebook, type into the magnifying glass, a little search bar, 100% Wild Rack Pack will come up. Click on it. If you answer a few questions, and I think there's 3,000+ people in there. It's just a cool little community that we started a year and a half or 2 years ago.
A lot of memes.
Yeah. We make fun of Tim a lot. But there is a lot of good feedback in there. Like when you have questions, hunting questions, food plot questions, it's a direct way to get a lot of good hunters input. And
people are sharing a lot of their kills, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I like the Rack Pack. I'm glad we started it because like the Drury Outdoors Facebook page, it's so big. A lot can go, you would never know if something was posted, we would never know it. In the Rack Pack, it's still a micro community, right? And a guy had a question about what new muzzleloader to buy, and asked about the nitro fires, and Wade and Perry and Forrest and those guys jump in, and Aaron Bennett jumped in there and gave the feedback on the nitro fire. So you're going to get some feedback, anything deer cast related or stealth cam or any of those kind of products, like anything that we're pushing or promoting, we can give you pretty good honest feedback in there on our experiences with it. So anyways, new names this week. We got Brian Meyer, we got Keith Martin, David Goodfellow, Andrew Abrams, Luke Matthews, David Wanamaker. We usually have a fake name in here. We don't this week. I know that because it says no fake name. But I would have said Wanamaker would have been it. David, welcome. Brendan Martin is the last name we got. There you have it.
Awesome.
I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. We have several, but we got news recently that the guys over at Phorm and Phorm Outdoors joined up for another year. Appreciate the support there. And if you could, we appreciate you supporting their products. I think there's a link in the show notes of where to go check that out. So the big ones, I think for hunters, their Phorm energy drinks, a better for you energy to help you kind of get through those long, especially like the rut turkey season when you're getting up at the ass crack of dawn. I'm sure duck season, that kind of stuff. But more than anything, like the protein sticks.
Protein sticks are awesome.
They're legit. And it's a great snack for your pack.
Yeah.
So
you always have extra for me.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
You know, when I learned why to do that, this dates back to childhood. So Terry he prides himself on, I don't need a snack.
Oh, yeah.
I know, but anytime I packed one, he ate it.
Yeah.
So you had to start packing too.
Extras.
And I find it funny because just even this year, where the hell were we? Maybe up, I know, it was Cam's hunt up at Dad's for the youth season. And I packed stuff for Cameron and I, and we're in the blind, and we're with Forrest and Terry in the blind. And Terry's bragging, Forrest, have we ever packed a snack? Like, you're real. Look at these losers packing snacks. I'm like, I don't care if you do or not, but I know you're gonna eat my snack.
Yeah.
And sure shit, they both of them.
Yeah. Terry talks about food for the last 2 hours of the hunt. Anyway, he's asking Forrest what's for dinner.
Coondog calls him Piglet.
Oh my, yeah. He's always asking Forrest, yeah, you ready for biscuits and gravy? What backstraps tonight? What you got stew rolling? Yeah.
Poor Forrest.
Oh, he's a hell of a cook.
He is, but it's definitely, he was a hell of a cook before he came to work for us, but I think his skill set had to get even better because Dad makes him cook every night because Dad isn't doing it. So I find it funny. He makes fun of us. But anyways, that's a great snack. The protein bars are good too, but the protein sticks are legit.
You had a lunchbox full of candy for Cam's youth turkey hunt.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
I expected like a lunch when you opened up the lunchbox. It was just a bag of all types of sweets, Nerds, Skittles.
When you have kids, you gotta bring that kind of stuff. I mean, he surprisingly eats more of my first Phorm protein sticks, the original,
that's good,
than I do. So I have to order 2 boxes because he eats one of them. But when you go to an all day sit, any dad knows you gotta bring out the big guns. You gotta have sugar in there somehow. So we do. But anyways, check them out. We appreciate the support that you give them, and they notice it, and that support helps us. So I think that's it, Benny boy. What do you got? Yeah. Any closing thoughts? You got your outfits planned for SHOT Show? I'm bringing one suit so I don't get made fun of. I know that. Had somebody say, get a dress for the job you want last year. I was a little surprised. I feel like everyone pretty much has an outfit planned for that. Look, it's for maybe that's more the girls thing. For people, for people like me, it's just like, you dress the hunters, and then they're just, most of them are wearing tactical pants and boots and stuff like that. But you get into some of those meetings, and you got to pack all those guys. Boots. All the executive guys are wearing suits. Yeah, so you gotta watch out. Pack your cowboy boots. The pointed toes are coming back. I'm set then. I have a pair. Might be old. Barely 10 one years. Though. Yeah, but still brand new. Yeah. So we were in the blind. This is some inside joke stuff. We were in the blind last night. Yeah, we were talking about it. And he was showing me a pair of square toe. Justins? Or what were they? They were Justins, ostrich skin. My future father-in-law bought them for my wedding, and I'm just super excited about them. So I had to show you. Yeah, Ben's a young guy. What are you, 26? 26, yes. So I notice all my nephews are about that age, a little bit younger, but they all have square toe boots. And at Christmas, when we're at mom's, everybody's taking their shoes off, you just see 10 pairs of square toe boots, and I said, so I'm too old because at a 43-year-old, I don't have any square toe boots. Yeah. I said, man, you see everybody at the trade shows wear these kind of things. All these young guys got them. It's all I got is one pair of cowboy boots. They're pointy. You're like, hey, that's coming back. I think it's coming back. I'm seeing more country artists wear the pointy style. So I'm in. Dude. That's when you get old like this, you hold on to your shit long enough. It circles comes back around. In. Yep. Yeah. Pretty soon here, that denim jacket's going to come in here. Yeah. So anyways, well, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the hard work that you and all the editors and all the production staff put in all year round. It's the team members and the production staff, the heartbeat of the company. Yep. So we appreciate the hard work, and I'm glad you killed that buck. Well, I appreciate that, and thanks again. Yep. It'll be a night I'll never forget. So, Well,
And he's going to look good on the wall.
hell yeah, even more. And taste good.
Yeah, he'll taste
Ben's
great.
already got a process.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, everybody, if you're still grinding and ending the season, good luck out there. The cold temperatures are your friend. If you got food, be on top of it. And good luck. Be safe. Until next time, love you. Wish you all the best. Peace out.
DeerCast is completely updated and better than ever. Prep, predict, and pursue your target buck with our detailed maps, weather, and 14-day movement predictor.
We're adding new videos every week, so make sure to click that subscribe button and check out all of our amazing content. This episode of DoD TV is brought to you by DeerCast Maps, waypoints, weather, virtual rain gauges, and more. Every tool you need to get ahead of your game.